Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be looking at a name that's super popular and a classic, Olivia.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how a name can have so much history,
That's weird.
and meaning and even influence.
Yeah.
Olivia's story is a really captivating one.
So to start us off, did you know that the name Olivia is actually from Shakespeare?
Yes, it first appeared in his play Twelfth Night.
Okay.
Olivia is this wealthy countess known for her intelligence and beauty and strong will.
Wow, she sounds like a pretty great character.
She is. I think all those qualities, intelligence and elegance and depth, have really made the name appealing even today,
Right.
Like Shakespeare knew it would be popular or something.
Yeah, it's wild how a name from the 1600s can still be so relevant today.
Totally. And it shows how timeless some names are, how they can go through so many generations.
Right.
But beyond Shakespeare, Olivia's origin in Latin adds another layer too.
Oh, yeah.
It comes from oliva, meaning olive tree.
And olive trees have a lot of symbolism across cultures, don't they?
Absolutely. They've been seen as symbols of peace and abundance and victory for centuries.
Yeah, like the olive branch is known throughout the world.
Exactly. It's a really powerful image that resonates with everyone no matter where they're from.
So if you name your kid Olivia, it's almost like you're giving them those qualities at birth.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
you're giving them an inheritance of strength, resilience, and the potential to flourish.
Well, that's pretty powerful. And speaking of powerful women, it's interesting how modern-day Olivias are shaping how we see the name. We've got Olivia Wilde, this bold and creative force in Hollywood who's not afraid to speak out.
And Olivia Rodrigo, too,
Yeah.
whose music has really captured the hearts of a whole generation,
Mhm.
bringing a vulnerability and emotional depth to the name Olivia.
It's like the name has this ability to fit so many different personalities and professions.
Yeah.
It can be about artistic expression or activism, intelligence. It goes on and on.
It really does. No wonder Olivia is always high up on baby name lists all over the world. It seems to resonate with parents from all walks of life.
Yeah, for sure.
And something a little lighter, the nickname potential is pretty great, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Liv, Livy, Ollie, there's a nickname for everyone.
Right. You can really personalize it and make it unique.
Exactly.
But I think what I like the most is how the name comes back to that symbolism of the olive tree.
Yes, that resilience, that ability to thrive no matter what. It's beautiful.
It really makes you think when someone says Olivia, who do you picture? Someone strong, compassionate, creative, and determined. Or maybe a little bit of everything.
That is a good question.
Yeah,
It really highlights how a name is so much more than just a name.
for sure.
It can be a reflection of our hopes for them, aspirations, and even our cultural values.
You know, this reminds me of that card game, Name Game.
Oh,
It's a really cool way for expecting parents to go through the whole baby naming thing together.
it is such a good idea. Choosing a name can be so overwhelming,
Right.
but a game like that can really lighten the mood and make it feel more like you're doing it together.
Right. Instead of getting lost in these huge lists,
Exactly.
Name Game helps you focus on what matters, a name you both really love, and that feels perfect for your baby.
And it can lead to some cool discussions about the deeper meanings behind names, just like we're doing with Olivia right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a lighthearted way to do a mini deep dive into names
Mm-hmm.
and discover names you may have never even thought about before.
Totally. All these amazing qualities of the name make me think about the impact a name can have on someone's life.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
Like it's not just a label.
Right.
It's a part of who we are.
It really is.
It shapes how we see ourselves and how other people see us.
Yeah, and with a name like Olivia, which has all this history, meaning good vibes,
Yeah.
it's like you're setting them up for success.
Right.
I think there's definitely something to be said about how a name can give someone confidence
Sure.
and even a sense of purpose,
Yeah. And then when you think about how important olive trees are in so many cultures,
Mm-hmm.
it adds a whole other layer to the name Olivia.
It does.
Okay, so let's break that down a bit more. We talked about the olive branch as like a universal symbol of peace.
Right?
But what are some other cultural connections that really stand out to you?
Definitely in ancient Greece, the olive tree was sacred to the goddess Athena.
Okay.
She was associated with wisdom and courage
Oh, wow.
and being strategic in war.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was seen as a sign of victory and prosperity.
So the name Olivia kind of has these echoes of those old associations,
Yeah.
connecting it back to all these strong, intelligent women.
Exactly. And it's not just Greece.
Right.
The olive tree means something in a lot of other cultures, too. For the Romans, it was about Pax, the goddess of peace. And then you have the Bible, the dove bringing an olive branch to Noah. That symbolized hope and starting fresh after the flood.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right.
It's like Olivia's tapping into this huge history of human stories and myths.
Right.
It connects us back to these universal ideas of peace, resilience, and new beginnings.
I know. It's amazing
Yeah.
how much a name can carry, you
Well,
know, all that weight and meaning. It makes picking a name even more important, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You're not just choosing a name.
Yeah.
You're choosing their story, a legacy,
Mhm.
values you want to give them.
That's where something like name game can be so useful for parents to be.
Right.
It gets them to think about what they want their child's name to mean.
Yeah, exactly. It takes some of that pressure off by turning it into something fun,
Right.
like a game. So instead of fighting over endless lists,
Exactly.
you're playing together, exploring different names.
Yeah.
Maybe even finding names you never would have thought of.
Exactly. And as you play, you might end up researching the history and meaning behind names, just like we're doing with Olivia. It's a great way to start talking about what a name really stands for.
Right. It's like name game helps you find those special names, the ones that really speak to you.
The ones that have that deeper meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can make the whole process of choosing a name less stressful and more like a journey you're taking together.
Speaking of journeys,
Yeah.
I think it's time we explore how popular Olivia is worldwide.
Okay.
We talked about it a little bit before,
Yeah.
but I'm really interested in why this name seems to click with parents all over the globe.
That is a great question. I think part of it is how pretty and simple it is.
Right.
The name itself is easy to say and spell in a bunch of different languages.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that connection to the olive tree,
Yeah.
which is like this symbol of peace and abundance in many cultures,
For sure.
I think that helps with its global appeal too.
Absolutely. It's a name that people from different cultures see as a positive thing.
Right, it's
Yeah.
true.
So-
And let's not forget how adaptable it is. Olivia can be classic and modern, elegant and playful, strong and feminine.
Right. It's like a chameleon. It
Yeah.
changes to fit different personalities and styles.
Yeah, and I think that's a big reason why it stays popular.
It is.
It can grow with a person from childhood to adulthood, and it never feels old or out of place.
Right. It's a name that can be whispered in a lullaby
Yeah.
and said confidently in a boardroom.
Yeah, exactly. And it bridges that gap between generations so well.
It does.
You can imagine Olivia as a sweet little girl
Yeah.
playing in a garden, or as a powerful CEO running a huge company.
I know it really does.
It's a name with limitless possibilities, which is probably why parents all over the world love it so much.
And like we saw with Olivia Wilde and Olivia Rodrigo, it's a name that can be about creative expression and also about social activism. It just makes it even more appealing.
It's like the name itself is all about being your own person
Yeah,
and making your mark on the world.
for sure.
And speaking of making a name for yourself, let's go back to name game for a minute.
Yeah.
I think it's important to point out how this game helps couples balance tradition and their own style.
That's a good point. Picking a name usually involves thinking about your family history
Yeah.
and culture. And while it's great to keep those traditions alive,
For sure.
it's also important for parents to pick a name that shows what they value
Yeah.
and what they want for their kid.
Right.
That's what name game helps with.
Okay.
It gives couples a way to talk about family naming traditions, share what they like,
Yeah.
and in the end, find a name that feels meaningful and true to them.
Right. It's like the game encourages a conversation about family history
Mm-hmm.
while also giving couples the power to create their own legacy.
Exactly. And sometimes that means choosing a name that breaks tradition,
Yeah.
but that feels just right for their child and their family.
Okay, so we've talked about Olivia's roots in Shakespeare,
Yeah.
its connection to the olive tree,
Mm-hmm.
its global appeal, how modern Olivias are shaping the name,
Right.
and even all the nickname possibilities. What stood out to you the most so far?
It's tough to pick just one.
I know, right?
I think what keeps me fascinated is how this name,
Yeah.
which is pretty simple to say and spell,
Yeah.
manages to have so much meaning.
Right.
It's like a container for all those individual hopes,
Right.
dreams, and aspirations.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
like each Olivia gets to write her own chapter
Exactly.
in the story of this amazing name.
And that brings us back to why talking about names is so interesting. It's a journey where you learn not just about names, but
Right.
about our values,
Yeah.
our beliefs, and the stories we want to share.
Right. It's about how powerful a name can be in shaping who we are,
Hmm.
inspiring our dreams, and connecting us to something bigger.
Absolutely. And as we dig deeper into Olivia,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what other hidden gems and connections will we find? It's amazing to think about how many people have had this name through history.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing.
Right. From Shakespeare's Olivia to all the babies named Olivia being born right now. It's like we're all part of this big story connected by a name.
And each Olivia adds to that story,
Yeah,
bringing her own experiences and personality to the name.
it's true. It's like this collective legacy
Yeah.
built by all the Olivias who have come before.
And that brings us back to what we've been talking about this whole time,
Mm-hmm.
the power and meaning of names.
Absolutely. A name, it's not just a label.
Right.
It has history, meaning,
Yeah.
and it can shape a person's identity.
I know we've talked a lot about how serious names are,
Right.
but I think it's important to remember that there's also a fun side to it all,
Oh, yeah.
like picking a nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something really special about finding that perfect nickname for your kid.
Here is.
And with a name like Olivia,
Right.
there are tons of options.
So many.
Liv, Livy, Ollie, Via,
Mm-hmm.
they all have their own charm.
It's like each nickname shows a different side of the name.
Right. And speaking of connections,
Yeah.
I want to mention Name Game again.
Okay.
I think it's awesome how this game gets couples to have fun while choosing a baby name.
It's such a breath of fresh air.
Right.
Choosing a name can feel so daunting.
Yeah.
But Name Game turns it into this interactive experience.
It's like you're going on an adventure together,
Yeah.
looking for that perfect name that reflects your love and hopes for your child.
And what's great about it is you can be spontaneous
Mm-hmm.
and also really think things through. You might find a name you never even thought of,
Yeah.
or rediscover a family name that means a lot to you.
Right. And through all of that, you're getting closer as a couple
You are.
and getting more excited for your little one to arrive.
It's like Name Game sets the stage for all these amazing memories
Yeah.
and connections that start with the very first gift you give your child, their name.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on Olivia,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with one last thought. When you hear the name Olivia, what comes to mind? Any stories, images, or feelings?
Does it make you think of strength, grace, or creativity? Do you see a Shakespearean character, a modern-day trailblazer, or maybe a close friend or family member?
Yeah, think about your own connection to the name Olivia,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe explore the world of names a bit more with a game like Name Game.
After all, the best names are the ones that touch our hearts,
Mhm.
connect us to our past,
Yeah.
and inspire our dreams for the future.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the amazing world of Olivia. Until next time, keep exploring, keep discovering, and keep those name wheels turning.